Yeah, so welcome back to the App Promotion Summit with George Osborne. I'm joined by Marina Nissim from StartApp. Hi, how are you doing, Marina?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me here.
No, that's okay. Could you maybe tell our viewers a little bit about what StartApp's all about?
Yeah, well, StartApp is a mobile advertising platform. We're doing both monetization and distribution for mobile app developers. So we help them to generate higher revenues from their apps on the one hand, and on the other hand, we help them to promote their apps and get them discovered in the big App Store market.
Yeah, in the big wide world of the App Store. Could you tell us what the mission behind StartApp was when it started out? Why did it come out with this idea of trying to promote these apps in this way?
All right, so back in 2010, when the company started, we found out that it's quite hard for app developers to make money from their apps, especially from their free apps. And since most of the users are not paying users, we thought about generating ad revenue from ads, which works quite well because if you want to monetize the 100%, and 1% is the buying user, you need to take care of the rest of the 99%.
So what services do StartApp offer to make sure that those 99% of people monetize?
Oh, so the service we are suggesting is an SDK, a very light one that they integrate it very easily into their app, and they see ads of different brands and different top grossing apps, and the user get engaged and they get paid for each install, basically.
What would you say the unique selling point of StartApp is?
So as I said before, the company was started 4 years ago, and we are in the mobile ecosystem since then. And since then, we gathered a lot of impressions. We serve over 6 billion monthly impressions, and we have a lot of apps using our SDK on a daily basis, which is over 100,000, with 250 monthly active users worldwide. So I think the company grew quite quickly, and we work with some of the biggest brands today, biggest apps today, such as King, Kabam, Blue, Disney, and others. So we have established ourselves a good reputation in regards to monetization and distribution.
Okay, and you were talking to me a little bit earlier about about StartApp's take on retargeting, issues like that. Could you tell us a little bit about sort of your thoughts at the moment on that section of the market?
Yeah, so we have few targeting capabilities which are quite interesting, and I think many big companies are starting to go into this field right now. One, we call it app presence, which means basically don't show ads that user already has. For example, if you're using Candy Crush, do you play Candy Crush?
I do.
Okay, so how do you think about seeing a Candy Crush ad? Will it be relevant for you?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. So there is no point in doing it, both for the user experience and the CPM, the publisher that gets paid in the end of the day. So this is one feature. The second one is basically retention, how we retain users to their app, to the app they love. And for example, if you have a user that played with your app for the last 6 months and suddenly they disappeared and you want to get them back because they're good users, you want to have retention of those users. So you show them ads that lead them directly to the game. Instead of installing the app from the beginning, they just go and play it if they choose to.
Okay, so that sounds like some really interesting and unique takes, I guess, on the market. But just as one last question, I was wondering if there was any sort of unique or interesting little lessons that you learned from the App Promotion Summit today that you thought were really interesting for people to hear about?
Sure. Since this summit is mostly about content and relevant content in the mobile industry, I think the most important thing before you go and promote and put money and budgets is to do App Store optimization, to find the right keywords, to consult with people who know a thing or two about it, because many of the new companies, they barely know anything about it. So you should check what works and what doesn't in this regard, and just describe your app the best way you can before putting it on the store.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us, Marina. It's been an absolute pleasure talking.
Thank you very much.